is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Every day, countless Bahamians fall asleep hungry. But by working together, we can change this.
AML has committed $20,000 to provide nutritious meals for those in need during the holiday season.
As the holidays approach, help spread love and hope by supporting AML's 8th annual Feed 5000 program.
Donate today at any Solomon's, Fresh Market, Crossrite, Exuma Market, and Domino's Pizza.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My name is Erin Green and I'm sitting in for Mr. C.A. Newry this morning on Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. It is Monday the 27th of November 2023 and joining me in studio today are representatives from the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas, also known as NACOB. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, and this morning we're going to be talking about NACOB, its function, a bit of its history, and I think we're going to be focusing on the registration process. The ladies in studio this morning don't know I begged Mr. Newry for the space because I'm opening up a school of Chickchanery. No, I was supposed to say I'm opening up a Chickchani training school. The school of Chickchanery, don't call the police, that's a whole nother pursuit. But I am opening a school, and so I have an opportunity to speak with people who are vital in this process. From NACOB, the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas. Good morning, ladies, and please introduce yourselves. Remember, you have to speak directly into the mic.
Good morning, Erin, and allow me to say thank you for accommodating us, and also thank you to Mr. Newry. My name is Lorena Finlayson. I am the Senior Accreditation Officer at NACOB.
Good morning. My name is Cassie Amenes, and I am the Registration Officer at the Office of NACOB.
All right. Now, I like saying NACOB far better than the National Accreditation Equivalency Council of the Bahamas. But tell us, what is NACOB? What's your purpose? Why were you created? And what function, what role do you play in, I imagine, education?
Yes, ma'am. So the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council is a statutory body. We were established under the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council Act of the Bahamas on the 4th of October, 2006. We were assented on the 29th of December, 2006, and came into force on the 28th of February, 2007. We started our physical office, began operations in 2016. So in short, NACOB is the regulatory body for all educational providers in the country, with the exception of preschools. They come under the preschool unit. So from primary school, secondary, post-secondary, training institutions, allied health, projects and programs. In order to be in compliance with the law, you are required to register with NACOB.
All right. Can we take a moment to go through that full list since we're here? I got some questions.
Certainly.
What about homeschools?
Homeschools is a very different category.
Okay.
You have home-based schools.
Okay.
And you have homeschooling, which Bahamians confuse often.
Okay.
Homeschool is when the parent or legal guardian stays home with their child or children, and it has to be 1 to 3 children, because if it becomes 4, you're then a small school.
Okay.
And you stay home and you teach your children. You can hire a specialist to assist you.
Okay.
Then you have the home-based schools, where persons are hosting a small school in their home and charging persons to teach their children. The home-based schools are required to register with NACOB.
Okay.
And
All
you
right.
find that a lot of the home-based schools are not registered with NACOB.
Okay. Learning pods. During the COVID pandemic, or coming out of the COVID pandemic, a number of families organized learning pods where students from the same school, maybe in the same grade, would meet in an external place, so not the school and not the home, under the guidance of a tutor or a teacher.
We also encourage them to be registered with NACOB.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome.
So just basically, if you're out there teaching, hosting a school, charging persons, in order to be in compliance with the law, you have to register. And we do have a list of all of the registered institutions on our website.
All right, so if you are a parent trying to determine where you're going to send your child, you can go to the NACOB website
Absolutely.
and see a list of all of the schools that are registered. And
Absolutely.
if you don't see that school on the list,
You need, that's your first red flag.
right, and then you need to go and ask them,
Are you registered with NACOB?
right, how long does the process of registration start? Take, because somebody may say, oh, we are in the process of registering, and then by the end of the year, they're still not registered.
It
Let me
varies.
just backtrack just for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, when you go into an institution,
Yes.
you need to look for two things.
Okay.
The business license and the NACOB registration certificate. They are supposed to be displayed for persons, for the general public to see.
So not just for prospective parents, for the
Public, yes, that's correct.
Anyone. When you walk in, that's the first thing we tell persons to look for at all times. The business license and our certificate. If you don't see the certificate, they shouldn't have. If the certificate is not there, ask them. If they tell you they don't have one, that's a red flag.
Right. And if they don't have a business license, that's an even bigger red flag.
Bigger red
Yeah,
flag,
make sure
yes.
that's valid as well.
Because
Yes.
things like insurance,
Absolutely.
that you may presume your child is covered by insurance while at the institution or entity, but with no business license, it's unlikely that they have insurance.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we'll hop back to
Yes, ma'am.
registration, and then we can speak a bit about credential evaluation.
All right, but again, like I sent a list of questions because I love creating questions more than answering them, right? But
Questions are sometimes more important than answers.
true, absolutely. These are the educators. These people telling us the thing. Okay, so but you lead it. I'm excited about registration. I got a question. What's the difference between registration, accreditation, and recognition?
Okay. So as Ms. Minnis is a registration officer, she'll give you some information on registration. But registration, one of the main things, you have to meet the standards of NACOB, but she will go into detail about
Right.
that. Accreditation,
As well, so quality insurance is a
absolutely.
process.
And it takes much longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Accreditation is about 5 to 6 years. There are no local institutions that are accredited, post-secondary. So let's put that on the table now, because people think, oh, this institution is accredited, the next. There are no local post-secondary institutions that are accredited.
Now, when you say no,
None.
see, because in the communications world, unlimited, that don't mean unlimited. When you say no, you mean not even UB?
No, UB
None.
is registered with
UB
us.
is registered.
Registered.
They are not accredited by NACOB.
But they're in the process of,
Applying for accreditation elsewhere, outside
Okay.
of the country.
so accreditation is something you get from outside of the country?
No.
Ma'am, you
Oh.
can get locally accredited, ma'am.
From the office of NACOB.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Now recognition.
Recognition. All online offerings.
Mm-hmm.
So an institution wants to, like Barry, for example,
Right.
they wanted to have a satellite campus. They want Bahamians to be able to take their programs, and they want those public servants who take the programs for it to be recognized by the government. You apply for recognition.
Okay.
So if you want to have your online offerings recognized by NACOB and then in turn accepted and recognized by the public service, so you could get your little, you apply to NACOB for recognition.
Yeah,
We
but
also
these
have
are
a
all
list of-
non-Bahamian post-secondary
Yes.
institutions.
Okay.
So
So you-
recognition is just for non-Bahamian international institutions. So that's the
Wow.
difference.
Okay, all right. See, because people call here and they try to recognize me as a lawyer, and I have to tell them I'm not accredited, I'm not registered, I ain't got no degree. But it's great to know these things. It's great for young people to know these things so they can understand the language that's being used around them. And they, as I tell you all, even you appear more competent. This is the part when they say fake it till you make it.
Yes.
What they mean is immerse yourself in the space and gather as much as you can, and you will begin to understand it as you walk through it. Bang, bang. Okay, but you guys lead the conversation. I'm just excited with questions.
Well, let me speak a bit about credential evaluation, and then we can focus on registration.
Okay.
So credential evaluation, anyone who wishes to be employed by the public service,
Yes.
they have to bring their credentials to NACOB to be verified or evaluated. You have a lot of persons also in the public sector, private sector, who wish to have their credentials evaluated for employment purposes or educational purposes. You have a lot of persons completing high school. They're applying for scholarships. They're going abroad. They have to bring their high school diploma to NACOB to be evaluated to send to the school to say that it is what it is. You have persons who've applied to the public service. They may not have any of the national exams, so they may have taken a few college prep courses at particular institutions. They come to us for equivalencies in the BJCs or the BGCSEs.
Okay.
So we offer evaluations in the national exams, BJCs and BGCSEs, and we also verify the validity of your credentials, whether it be a high school diploma, a professional development certificate,
All right.
anything.
Do we have a lot of credential fraud?
Not a lot,
Yeah.
but we have some.
Yeah.
You have diploma mills within the region
Yeah.
and internationally.
Okay.
And so we have seen a few degrees that have come in that were not valid, but it's not, thankfully, at that number where it is a great concern for us.
And we're not I'm not focusing on sort of outright fraud, like I just found the name of an institution and created a fake degree.
No, we've had
But-
persons who've tried to put their names on transcripts and didn't remember that your name is found not just on the first page of the transcript, so they forgot to liquid paper out the third or the fourth page of the transcript.
Wow.
You've
Right.
had persons who've created certificates,
Yes.
but when we take certificates, we must have a valid transcript to accommodate it. And then as you go through training, there are certain things you are taught to look for on certificates and transcripts, so you know whether it's a need for
Valid.
concern.
All right. What advice do you have for students, people who are looking for higher education, to ensure that they're not caught in a scam? Say, for instance, because one thing is to send the money, you get the letter, you wait for the class to start, and it doesn't start. Another thing is that you spent 3 years going to class, producing work, paying for classes, to come out at the end of that 3 or 4 years and find out that this is not a
An accredited institution.
Yes.
And we've experienced that. You have to do your due diligence.
Okay.
And I always say, if you're not sure, call. That's why we are there. We're happy to answer questions, to walk you through the process. You have to do your due diligence, not just going through the website, because there are certain institutions, if you Google them, you'll find that some of them now come up as diploma mill, first red flag, and then you have some that then they're not able to. The first thing, if you're not able to find a website for an institution and they're only on Facebook, that's your first red flag.
absolutely government of the Bahamas?
The public schools are in the process
Right.
of registering.
But not just that, I want to make this point. We saw in the latest shuffle, not just ministers move, but ministries recomposed. And what struck me as interesting is the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. And so I'm hoping that in that information portfolio within that new ministry, they're taking on some of these functions, right? About like verifying information and things like that.
That is key.
And so I just wanted to put that positive plug in there while I say that we need to establish websites for ministries. They cannot just rely on disseminating information through Facebook, primarily because you don't own that site, right?
Absolutely. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Bringing standards up across the
Yes,
board. And I'm
yes.
hoping that the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting is a part of that process. Absolutely. Okay, so you do find some people coming in and discovering that, oh, I just spent 3 years of my life.
Yes.
Are there ways, like once I'd come in, I brought the diploma, the degree, you assess it, you come back to me and say, Ms. Green, this is not a reputable institution. What can I do to say, is there anything I could do to save the time and money?
Nothing.
Just go to the NACOB website and make sure that you can better prepare yourself.
That
Yeah.
is, yes. We have had persons who would have, I remember one particular individual spent, I think, she said 3.5 years, completed a bachelor's degree. The school was not accredited, and she was working in the public service. And so, of course, that was a challenge. So again, we cannot stress enough that you do your due diligence.
Yes.
Institutions must be accredited. If they're not accredited, then find somewhere else.
Yes.
If they're in the process, if you see an institution that you are interested in attending and they are in the process of accreditation, reach out and ask some questions. When did you apply to the accrediting body? How long is the process? How far along is it? Ask some questions. Because if you graduate and they are still not accredited, it's not going to be recognized by NACOB.
Oh, wow. Wow. I have some texts here. Texts, I haven't forgotten you. We're going to get to the texts. Some of them are very critical. But here's one. How does the 52-week work program and other government placement programs fall under NACOB?
That's the public service.
All right. Is NACOB under the public service and education? No, you're under education.
We're a statutory body. We collaborate with the minister,
Okay.
but we're not under the Ministry of Education.
So if I do the 52-week program, I'm unfamiliar with the policy underpinning it. Is the 52-week program a capacity building opportunity? Do I get a certificate at the end of it that I could bring to NACOB, and then if I'm applying for a permanent job with the government, I could submit that to say, hey, I did the 52-week work program in this area. Will that assist my application?
I will say this. I have seen in the past persons bring in certificates from the 52-week program. However, the public service will determine how those certificates are used between the public service and the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
They determine what certificates are issued and how they are used when it comes to employment, increments, and that sort of thing.
And that's on the front end, right? But like before the process starts, you know this is a certificate that you will get at the end of this program. This is what it can be used for.
I think so.
Okay.
I have heard things from the public service and with regard to the 52-week program, and it seems to be very well organized and laid out. So you know what you're coming in to do, you know what you can do, and what the possibilities are upon completion.
The possible outcomes.
Yes.
That's great. That type of certainty and
It's
clarity.
important.
Yes, because people are
important.
attempting to
Advance
do
themselves,
the
yeah.
very thing we tell them is their own responsibility.
Yes.
Absolutely. The NACOB website. So to the text, it's NACOB.
Yeah. AECOB.org.
Okay, and that is the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas. Now, I have a quick question before we sort of transition. When I went to QC, the plural of fruit is fruit. Right? I noticed because I got pinched. Sometimes they cut you, they eye at you. Sometimes you get, not the teachers, the parents. So I know the plural of fruit is fruit.
Like the plural of meat is.
Meat,
Okay, and the plural of youth is.
youth.
Okay.
So now, but hold on. So I know, so then I found out, right, that if it's all boys, did you talk, I think if it's a mix of boys and girls, you could call them youths. But not on my exam paper.
No.
See, I don't have a problem. I mean, I do have a problem, but it's in my own heart. It's not a real problem. With people who say fruits when they mean fruit.
Yes.
And I don't have a problem with it because the only way to express the plural of fruit is fruit. Because we know in American English and in some other forms of English, fruits is acceptable for the plural. What I want to know is, how do you teach an exam? How do you teach for an exam that says the plural of fruit is fruit? But you actually enable and allow your students to say fruits as the plural?
You should not.
And can NACOB solve this problem? Are these the things that you, when you're assessing, do you assess curricula?
We do
Yes.
take a look at the curriculum.
Is that something that you could assess in the curricula for me, please? Again, it is my bias. I adhere to a standard British English. And so I don't have a problem with people who are speaking a non-standard British English to say fruits is plural. But why are we teaching an exam that requires the answer fruit, but we are allowing our students to say fruits? That's my bias deep inside my heart.
I understand where it's coming from.
Right. Now, can I start, so that's my problem. Can I start an NGO, and can that NGO work with NACOB, not as partners, but like I'm on the fringe, I see what y'all doing and I adhere to that, to have conversations about these things? And are there any NGOs you aware of, just because of its loose affiliation with NACOB, that are doing education advocacy work?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
I am not aware of any. It doesn't mean that they're not out there.
Yeah.
But NACOB is not aware of any right off the top of my head.
Right. Because I thought about like people who are concerned about what goes into curricula at any organizations lobbying or advocating on that end. Are groups like other Rastafarians advocating for an inclusion of particular modules in curricula, those sorts of things.
No, they may be reaching out to the private schools directly,
But
but they're
not-
not reaching out to NACOB.
Okay. All right. I took you all down my own road.
Okay.
Let's get back to the discussion. So we talked about the difference between registration,
Recognition.
recognition,
Accreditation.
accreditation, and then we talked about credential evaluation.
Yes.
Very, very important, because I declare myself a Chickchani catcher,
Yes.
and I teach classes.
Okay.
But ain't nobody evaluate my credentials, I'll be honest with
You
you.
need to bring them in, Aaron.
I will do.
Yes.
I mean, I will do. I have some.
Forthwith,
Yeah.
as they say.
I'm anyway, I'm not the only person who's talk foolishness on the radio, but I coming in. Okay, so let's get to registration. It is almost December. School started in September. Tell us about the registration process. If I'm considering opening a new school, when is the deadline? When do I have to begin the process? How long does it take? And so how do I prepare myself? Because a typical Bahamian, I have everything in order. The students have already paid. I'm waiting for the NACOB certificate to open up. And when I call NACOB, they say, ma'am, the process is going to take 3 to 17 weeks. So let's walk through that process.
Okay, so as a registration officer, my responsibility is to manage the registration process.
Okay.
If you wanted to open an institution, your first step would be to download the application from our website, which is naecob.org. You're going to go to the Forms and Resources tab. Depending on which program it is that you are interested in opening, whether it's a primary and secondary school, whether it's a tutoring program, a training institution, or a post-secondary institution, the time frame for them are different. So let's just say you wanted to open a primary and secondary school. You would then download the application for primary and secondary school. You would complete the application form in its entirety. Basically, the application is just asking you for information about your institution. So we'll be learning resources, physical resources, tuition fees, what is your mission, what is your vision. So information like that. Who are your instructors? Who are your staff members? What are their qualifications? Are they qualified to do what it is that you want them to do? So this is what the application entails.
Okay. What about vetting of teachers? Would that be a part of the registration process?
It is,
Not
yes,
that NACOB vets them, but that the school has to provide a report on each teacher.
The school should submit a credentialing evaluation form for all of their instructional staff members to ensure that their degree is valid and they are certified to do what it is that they want to do,
All right.
especially teach.
That's one level. What about the security level? Is that a part of NACOB's purview, assessing, say, a police report, a criminal record? Are those sorts of things submitted for the NACOB? No, that's not your purview.
No, they are they should be submitted to the institution.
Okay.
What institutions submit to us, what the schools submit to us, as Ms. Minnis would have mentioned, all of the credentials, degrees, transcripts.
Okay.
Resume.
Right.
Resume.
So-
We want to ensure that if you are a chemistry teacher, that you actually studied chemistry.
Absolutely.
And not that you studied family science and have been put to teach chemistry, which happens sometimes.
Yes.
And so this process protects both the students
And the teachers.
and the teachers. Absolutely. And we know there are lots of young people who are they're desperate to work, and B, they want to teach. That's their passion.
Yeah.
And they're so excited in the opportunity that they may just accept that, but they shouldn't have to.
They should not.
No, no, not just shouldn't have to, you should not.
Yes.
Absolutely. We have a lot of teachers who are overworked and overstressed because they're working outside of their trained space.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so somebody said, can you repeat the website again?
Sure. The website is naecob.org.
Okay. Okay, dear texter, thank you. I will make that point in the break. They're telling me my grammar is off, and they just see you messing up my opportunity to get registered, texter. Let's keep that between us. But no, let's not keep that between us, right? In this space, the students are the center of the process. So this is not a space where, oh, don't expose everything because we need the business or we need to move forward. When you prioritize and center the students, right, then you focus on everything. You're overcritical to ensure that they're in the safest environment possible, and you're not wasting their time. And they can see that you are serious about education, as serious as you want them to be. Text, I can get back to that one. I got a text here that said they have a problem with people saying fishes.
That too.
Dear cousin, I mean, it's our bias. Texter, it's our bias. Okay? I see we have a caller on the line. We take this caller. Good morning, caller. 1 second. Could you repeat that?
Good morning, Aaron. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Oh, headphones.
Quick
ready.
question to the ladies. Has there been, or has their institution done any cohort study on the ground level of the educational powers, productivity, decline, educational skill set of Bahamian schools, and what local research has been done to address academics on a local level? And could they answer that for me, please? I'll just hold and listen.
All right. That's a great question. They're going to respond, but I'm wondering how much of that is under their purview.
That's the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
We are quality assurance.
Okay.
That's
Right.
what we are.
But-
Regulators
Right. Dear
for
texter,
institutions.
you sound like you need to start an education advocacy organization right away, because the question's great, the reference is great. It's just that that's not a part of their purview or their
And
mandate.
it is a good question.
Yes, thank you. Caller. No, texter. We like Soches. I like that. That's the one we ate. See, that's how I know this is the exception to the rule. I like Soches. Okay. I'm getting a lot of
messages?
a lot of grammatical corrections, a lot of grammar. Dear texters, thank you very much. So, producer, let's go to a break, and when we get back from the break, we're going to run back through some information about NACOB.
Yes.
We're going to continue the registration process, contact information,
Yes.
and in this break, while you're listening to the commercials, go to the website, naecob.org. That's NACOB, National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas. You guys stay tuned to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. This is Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry, Aaron Green sitting in at the mic. We'll be right back.
You see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bump into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday, you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
So what you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, you know. Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me, and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll-free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them. And the messages get all mixed up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
The holiday season is upon us, and everyone's going to be looking for those special items on their gift list. Merchants, here's your opportunity to have your products placed in the Nassau Guardian's Holiday Gift Guide. This year, shoppers are going to be searching for perfect presents at the right price. Anything from a family island weekend getaway to electronics, jewelry, and even clothes. For one low price, you can have your ads published twice this December in the Nassau Guardian's Holiday Gift Guide. Deadline for registration is Wednesday, November 30th. Be sure to contact your Nassau Guardian sales agent or call the Nassau Guardian directly at 302-2300. Be sure to ask about our 30-second Christmas radio commercial bonanza.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
The Nassau Guardian's Holiday Gift Guide. Our gift to you. Because Christmas is...
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. You are on Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. Aaron Green sitting in for him this morning. We're talking to NACOB, the National, and I have to say it properly.
And Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas.
All right. Is it okay if I mess up the T with a D?
No.
No, I have to say it properly.
It's not okay by me.
I got you. Accreditation.
Yes.
And it's important to practice.
Yes.
And that's how our kids learn, right? And that's why it's important for adults to hold a standard. Because kids learn by absorbing what they hear most frequently in their environment. I know why my mommy pinched me when I was little. It's because she's trying to muscle memory that in. You know, at that age. Now, producer, before we go on with the show, my guests have asked me, was that the Valley Boys you was playing just now? Was that the Saxons you was playing just now? He said, that's the mighty, mighty Saxons.
Guess that's okay. My mother is a hardcore Saxon.
Yeah.
My father's a hardcore, grew up in the Valley, Carew Street Valley boy.
So who used to accreditate the results in your house?
My dad.
Yeah. So
My dad.
Valley win every year?
Win, lose. Valley boys always on top. But I won't have that conversation because my good cousin is a hardcore war hawk, if Dwight even hears me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got to find some balance sometimes.
Absolutely.
And then I have a heart for one family. So, you know, we could have that conversation another day.
So, my boy, our producer is a dedicated soldier for the Immortals, right? But he love up. You can see that he love up for one family. It's him in there too.
Yes.
It's hard to choose when you're a real Junkanoo.
Yes.
So as we transition back to the registration conversation, I'm going to throw this question to you. We're going to take this call. You don't have to answer the question right away. Putting it on the table. If I wanted to start a Junkanoo school, do I have to get registered?
Yes.
Just
you are an educational provider.
Okay then. Caller, you're on Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry.
Hey, this the caller calling.
Good day, sir.
This the caller who's calling. This Sparky.
Oh, hey, Sparky, how you doing?
Now, when you talk real Junkanoo, you ever hear a Junkanoo who's been in Junkanoo for 64 years non-stop?
That's you, Sparky?
From December 1958.
That's what happened. You didn't oil up your knees properly, Sparky. You put in the work.
I think I only missed Junkanoo 2 years. Out of that 1 year, I was in doctor's hospital, but I could hear the music from my room.
But Sparky, we talking education and education standards today. I gotta hit the button. Don't be mad at me. We can sort of stick on that conversation. Because the only question I want to ask you, Sparky, don't call back, is did they have to accreditate the government high school? Like, why these people feel like they could just 17 years later continue to call it the government high school?
It is no longer the government high school.
Right. Now, I found out that the is actually a part of the name.
Yes.
So they're not putting on. That is a part of the name.
Yes.
But when you only one, like it's the, when you only one, do you have to get accredited?
Registered.
Registered.
And you
Okay.
can apply for accreditation.
All right. So
after registration.
Okay. Let's get back to the registration process.
Yeah. So once a completed application with the supporting documents is submitted to the Office of NACOP, you then be required to pay an application fee, which is $300, which is non-refundable.
Okay.
And it is a one-time fee.
Okay.
Once this application fee is paid, then the assessment process or the registration process will then commence. We would then take a look at the application, ensure that all of the documentations are there. You have all of your approvals from the various government agencies. We do collaborate with the other government agencies such as physical planning, inland revenue, environmental health, and the fire department, because these are requirements that you need to have in order to successfully attain registration status with the Office of NACOP. So if all of your ducks are in the row, and you have all of the necessary information that is required, we will then provide you with registration status. You will be listed on our website. We will provide you with a registration letter, as well as we would provide you with a registration certificate that you have to put on display. Also, with a part of the registration process, there is an on-site inspection. This is where our inspectors would come into your institutions. We would take a tour of the campus. We would speak to some of your students, some of your staff members. We would also look at your curriculum, look at your former textbooks, interview students, interview the principals and other staff members, just to get a general idea, because some things written on an application needs further clarification face to face.
So 2 things I thought of quickly in my pick-up and drop-off runs. Physical safety. A school needs are there requirements like outdoor space? How much outdoor space there is per student? Like how much the dynamics of the pickup area? Or there is a square foot per student?
Physical planning normally does that evaluation for us.
Okay, because I'm thinking, does the school need an adequate amount of space for pickup? For students to be in, and then parking separate from that?
Yes, and in the classroom, yes. And our inspectors know the square footage. Our lead inspector, Mr. Newbold, is coming out of Meguana this morning, as I mentioned.
Okay.
He's doing inspections. We have covered the length and breadth of the country. As our chairman says, the Bahamas is not just New Providence.
That's right.
And she has ensured the inspectors have gone to every island, rock and key, as she says, to inspect schools. And some of them, we say, you need to get this in order before we return. We have some institutions, as Ms. Minnis can say, that will send us pictures. We did this, we did that, we did this. There's a joke in our office. It's not a joke, but it was a funny story that they went and visited a particular school. When they were going back, they met the principal on the plane going back to the island, and she had purchased everything we told her she needed to purchase in order to pass her inspection.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we are on the ground.
This is great.
Yeah, I'd also like to add, just so persons could be aware, just because you submit an application to the Office of NACOP, that does not mean that it will be approved.
Right. The receipt of application is not an automatic approval.
Yes, not approval, yes.
Absolutely.
All right. That is very important. I got a text here. They're saying they have a friend who's been trying to open a preschool, and red tape is ridiculous. But we covered earlier in the show texted that preschools do not fall under the purview or umbrella of NACOP.
That would be the preschool council.
Okay.
With Ms. Archer.
And I want to encourage parents, concerned parents, and community members to start education advocacy groups.
Absolutely.
Right? The Ministry of Education needs the support. The supporting agencies need the support. And most of all, the teachers and the students and the supporting staff need the support. Here's a quick question before we move on to another text. In Japan, one of the principles in the school is that students help to keep the school clean. And in the morning, they're assigned tasks, whether it's their classroom only or the wider school campus to clean up. I'm thinking about the same thing. But there's a very thin line between inculcating a culture of cleanliness and community-driven action and working children as janitorial staff. Are there specific standards for that in the NACOB registration and inspection process?
Not necessarily. Institutions are responsible for having their own policies and procedures.
Okay.
But anything out of
Yeah.
thoughts, we speak to it.
So if a parent does have a concern about her
Yes.
child being a janitress, then she could bring her concern to the
Right.
office of NACOB.
And on the website, I saw a link for complaints.
Yes, for complaint form, yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
So if your child attends a school or you attend a school and you do feel as though your child is not being probably handled fairly, or yourself as a student, because you may be adults attending a post-secondary institution.
Right.
If you do not think that you are being handled fairly, you can contact the office of NACOB for further assistance. Once the institution is registered with the office of NACOB. Now, if the institution is not registered with the office of NACOB, that's now out of our hands because the institution is not registered.
Okay, I get it. You're not an enforcement agency, but so you can't shut down a school that's not registered, but you can make parents aware that this institute is not registered because it doesn't appear on the list of registered institutions. All right, we have another call coming in. If you put on your headphones for me, ladies. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was wondering, if disability comes into this, do you monitor the schools that have started, whether it be preschools or already schools, private schools? Do they monitor them for disability? And my second question, I'm going to hang up. You get the first question, Eric?
Yes, we're going to ask them if they're inspectors or if there are any requirements for physical parameters for disabled students.
Right. You tell you for Green College, I wanted the down home way. But anyway, the second question is the college, the medical college down in Grand Bahama. You are responsible for monitoring that or registering that too. Yeah, you get that one. You put it in Green College language.
I can put it in Queens College's.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Pumpkin Eater. And so the first question is, as a part of the registration process, are schools required to hit standards for mobility, access, and ease of access for students with physical disabilities?
From what I have seen from inspections, I have seen where a number of schools do have access, like they'll have the ramp for persons who are in a wheelchair.
And so institutions are doing it on their own?
Yeah, I think they're doing it on their own. It's not really a requirement by the Office of NACOB, but they're doing it on their own.
All right.
They're getting there.
All right.
Yeah.
So Pumpkin Eater, the Council for the Disabled, right? That's where we need to start and find out whether the new legislation around, like, for instance, parking spots, right? If that also applies to schools, because a parent who is delivering their child to school with a wheelchair and their vehicle has a motorized
Accessibility,
ramp, right? Then there would need to be a space for the
Them.
vehicle. And then y'all know that space with the lines y'all like to park in the food store? That's actually for the ramp for someone who releases their wheelchair from the vehicle via a motorized ramp. That's what that's for. Thank you very much, Pumpkin Eater.
And to
then-
his next question, the institution that he's referring to, they are
Western Atlantic.
registered. They are registered with the Office of NACOB.
Absolutely. Texter said the children need to learn how to clean So nothing is wrong with children cleaning their own mess. Yeah, but there's a thin line between general classroom tidiness and fulfilling the sanitation and hygiene requirements. And you have to have a janitorial team
Yeah.
In order to do that.
And
And personally, if you are taught at home to be clean, you won't be making a mess at school, right?
Right.
So it all
You'll
starts
understand it.
Starts at home.
Yes.
It all starts at home.
Absolutely. Now, here's a text. It says, see, Pumpkin Eater, I want to try QCify this one, but I can't. Why would anyone seek accreditation by NACOB when SHEA, CHEA,
Chia.
and ANAB, ANAB, I saw Chia, not familiar with ANAB, but the text says ANAB, the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, and the National Accreditation Board in the U.S. are the premium bodies and the gold standard.
They're not accrediting bodies.
Further to that,
Yeah,
they're in the U.S.
They're in the U.S.
And we're in the Bahamas.
Yes.
And NACOB is a member of Chia.
There you go, Dexter. Yeah, and that's how.
Chia isn't an accreditation body.
Okay.
They're layman's terms, they're a quality assurance body.
Okay.
So they are
Network,
making
yeah.
sure that the accreditation bodies do what they are supposed to do.
Okay.
And so a membership allows you to recognize the other accreditation bodies around the world, which is why NACOB is a member of Chia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. And then further to the point.
But let me also
Yes,
say,
ma'am.
you should seek accreditation with NACOB so
First.
that make sure that the standards, and not just local standards, local and international standards, are met by the institution.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's why you seek accreditation.
Absolutely. And we are a sovereign country. We, in and of ourselves, we are the Bahamas. We need to have our own institutions to
Absolutely.
protect our own people. Yes, we can affiliate with the U.S. system.
Yes.
There may be a requirement to be a part of a larger global hierarchy of organizations,
Yes.
but that doesn't mean that you don't do it for yourself.
And stop
Yes.
thinking that foreign is better all the time
Right.
than what we have here.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a constant cultural war between, like, who is smarter? Is it African Americans or is it West Indians, right? Who has a stronger culture of appreciation for education? But we ain't fighting over that. What we're going to do is ensure the best opportunities for our children. And that is, parents, the job doesn't stop when you drop them off to school.
Yes.
We know that you're busy. We know that you're overwhelmed with work and family dynamics and planning for the future. But you also have to take up this task of ensuring that the institution that you're sending your child to is hitting all of the standards.
Absolutely.
Local and international, because the local standard is an international standard. Got to believe in ourselves. Okay, another text. Person say, yes, inculcate that in the school. So by the time they leave school, if they're not picking up that culture at home, they can understand it from the school perspective.
And that's true.
Now, a question that was burning through my brain, but I didn't know how to say it appropriately or without hurting people's feelings.
Okay.
What is an honorary doctorate? And is a doctorate the only honorary degree that you can get? Because I'd like to get I'll suffice with an honorary bachelor's degree. I don't need a whole doctorate. Just give me one fake bachelor's degree, please.
A little something. It is the most popular.
Yes.
It is the most popular degree, and I guess you can say it's the highest honor that they can give you at an institution.
Okay.
But it's only valid on the campus of the institution, and usually only at commencement exercises. So persons who come, so if the University of Chickchani's main campus on New Providence comes and gives myself and Miss Minnis honorary doctoral degrees,
Yes.
it's only good on your campus in the Bahamas. So I don't need to put on my resume and my business card, on my signature line and my email, Dr. So-and-so, because it's only valid for that campus, usually at commencement exercises. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I know it's going to upset a lot of people, and I'm sorry, but I didn't make it up.
So
That's the
it's
way
really
it is.
just for security. It's just for
Yeah,
security to know you belong here.
Just for pretty.
And don't let the children.
It's just showing appreciation to
Yes.
you. Because you will see, mostly when you go to a commencement exercise and you speak, they give you this. It's a gratitude, a nice, better than a plaque, right?
But it's inappropriate to use that title in any space outside of that
of the institution.
and particular activities on the campus.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to remember that. I don't want to get catch, because I mean,
And don't get beat up.
because I can be honest with you, I like deep in it. I'm about to get an honorary doctorate from Diploma Mill. I can be honest.
No, don't get it from the diploma mill. Get it from a recognized
And because it is a real thing. Because it is a real
diploma
thing.
mills are real. And we also have a lot of persons here who will attend institutions that are not accredited and come in.
Oh, and attempt to use
They're
it. Yeah.
popular. They have little satellite campuses here.
Okay.
They're not registered with us, and they're not recognized, and they're not accredited. So you between a rock and a hard place.
Absolutely. I mean, me, I between the church and the jail, and I hadn't left to the church. I'm going to change my life.
Okay.
I'm going to hit these standards.
I got you.
But it's important for people to understand that, no, you can't just be scamming, right?
Yeah.
That we are a real country. We have real institutions underpinned by
Yes.
legislation and
Yes.
policy to
Yes.
protect the citizens of the Bahamas and all people present in the Bahamas from unscrupulous actors.
Yes.
And also to support parents
Yes.
on this perilous and overwhelming journey of preparing my children for the future. And education is the biggest part of that. Okay, let's get contact information out there for NACOB.
So our office number is 328-8872
Or 3.
or 3.
All right. I have the Chichani number here. I don't know if these are correct. 356-3418
That is also one of our numbers.
and
Yes.
356-3420.
Yes, that is also a number.
All right.
Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. Sorry, Ms. Minister.
We are
Go ahead.
located on Tonic Williams Starling Highway, 2 corners down from Eagles Electric.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh, okay. I got you.
You'll
And,
see the signage from the road. You can't miss us.
all right. And the email address is info@nacob.org. That's info@naecob.org. So I found some great articles. If people want to learn a bit more about NACOB in action, here are 2 great articles. The first is Work of NACOB Critical in Ensuring High Standards in Education, says Minister Hannah Martin, and that's from the 22nd of March 2023. And it's very informative. You know, it explains what the inspectors do, the types of institutions that have to be registered. And then the second article, Ministry of Education makes changes to the Bahamas High School Diploma, 12th of June. This is just a sort of coincidental mention, but the minister highlights like the role of NACOB in this process, that curriculums have to be, see, Pumpkin Eater, sometimes I can't QCify it, have to pass through NACOB
Yes.
for approval and assessment. And even the government, because I wanted to ask you, like if I was the government, why do I have to come to NACOB? I'm already the Ministry of Education, but even government schools
Yes.
are required to be registered
Yes.
by NACOB.
Yes,
Correct.
ma'am, that is
Yes.
You guys trust that in the midst of all things, there are entities and institutions dedicated to building this country. And this is one of them. I'm very excited about it. As I talk about a culture of appreciation for education as a driving factor, right, in community and national development. And NACOB is one of the institutions that they are a watchdog. They look out. They are a beacon. So you could find them, but also they are watching over us. The website. Tell us what we could find on the website quickly. We've got about 30 seconds and the complaint process. Because, I mean, I may be 7, but I don't like this teacher and I think I should be allowed to complain. Can I come to NACOB?
In terms of navigating our website, there are complaint forms. There are other forms on our website that you can utilize in terms of, there's a complaint form. So with the complaint form, if there is a concern that you have as a parent or as a student, you can complete the complaint form.
A valid concern.
A valid
Yeah,
concern.
nothing frivolous.
No,
Yes.
not that the teacher doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, with our post-secondary institutions, training institutions, as well as allied health institutions, we have institutional profiles that will show you all of the courses or programs that they are approved to offer. This is very important.
Yes.
This is very important because you want to make sure that you as a student, that the course or program that you are enrolled in, that it is registered by the Office of NACOP, and this can be found on our website.
Absolutely.
All of the listings of all registered institutions, recognized institutions is on our website.
Okay. Listen, this conversation is fuller than I thought it would be. I want to keep you all to myself, but I may have to share you all with the rest of the Guardian platform so we can make this conversation as wide as possible. There's one thing I know, parents care.
They do.
And sometimes they're just overwhelmed.
Yes, absolutely.
We're all out of time. It's the 12 o'clock hour. We have to go to the news. Thank you very much, Ms. Finlayson and Ms. Minnis, Registration Officer at NACOB. Howard Grant, the foundation is up next. Cut the music, producer. We're out of here.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.